Hello everyone. In this video, we'll be discussing chapter 13, which is Mahatma Gandhi and the Nationalist Movement. So in the previous chapter, that is Rebels and the Raj, we discussed about the revolt of 1857. So in that chapter, we discussed about the causes of that revolt, the implications of the same, as well as the reasons for the failure of that revolt. So when we talk about Mahatma Gandhi and the nationalist movement, that is the Gandhian era, the time period which we are talking about is from 1918 to 1947. So what happened from the time period of 1857 to 1918? Let us have a brief idea of that first. So when the revolt of 1857 was suppressed by the Britishers, the British government passed the Act of 1858. So it was the Government of India Act of 1858. अब ये इसलिए because although the revolt of 1857 was suppressed, it did send shock waves to the British authority. So in order to establish their stronghold in India, the Government of India Act of 1858 was passed. Now what happened by virtue of this act was that the power was transferred from the East India Company to the British Crown. So this act was a result of the proclamation by Queen Victoria, and now the monarch, that is the Queen, got the absolute authority to rule India. So this was considered as the first step of political unification of India, because the entire Indian territory came under the rule of a single ruler. So under this act, a lot of things were introduced. For example, the position of viceroy was created. Then there was abolition of the doctrine of lapse, about which we discussed in the previous chapter, and so on. So now, because of the reason that there was political unification in the country, the feeling of nationalism started to emerge. Further, this was coupled with the fact that the people of India were becoming aware of the economic exploitation by the Britishers. So if you've studied economics, you would know that this was the time when economists like Dadabhai Naoroji, V.K.R.V. Rao and all, they were conducting different studies and they were pointing out the baneful effects of the British policies. Right, so when people started becoming aware of these facts, the Swadeshi spirit gained momentum. Also, at the same time, there were various socio-religious reforms which were taking place in the country. Then in the year 1885, the Indian National Congress was formed by A.O. Hume. So pehle it was the Indian National Union, but later on it was renamed as the Indian National Congress. So from all of this, we get an idea that the nationalist movement was starting to emerge in India. Now one very important event which happened was the partition of Bengal. So Bengal was partitioned in the year 1905. So the old province of Bengal was divided into West Bengal and East Bengal respectively. So East Bengal, which later came to be a part of Pakistan and which currently is Bangladesh, and West Bengal, we all know, is a state in present day India. So the partition of Bengal took place, and it was stated by the Britishers that it was being done to stimulate growth of underdeveloped eastern regions of Bengal. So the reason Britishers ne diya of this partition was that it was to develop the eastern region of Bengal. However, the main objective of this partition was to divide and rule the most advanced region of the country. So we have previously discussed that how Bengal was the hub or the center of politics. So the Britishers aimed at dividing Bengal so that they can establish their stronghold in India and they can suppress the nationalistic movement that was starting to emerge. Because of this partition, anti-partition movement started. So this movement was called the Swadeshi and the boycott movement. तो अब स्वदेशी का मतलब है, स्व means self, देश means country. So Swadeshi means that you are encouraging the domestic things, you are encouraging domestic production, and boycott means banning. So you are basically boycotting the foreign products or foreign goods. So the Indian National Congress took up the Swadeshi call in the Benares session, which was held in 1905. So the INC used to take up sessions in different provinces. So this was the Benares session in which they decided to support the Swadeshi movement. So initially, the Swadeshi movement was an economic measure, right? Because you are promoting the domestic products and you are boycotting the foreign products. However, with time, it spread to other aspects as well. That is, you are shunning or boycotting everything which is related to the British authority, the British government. That is, you are boycotting their ideas, their ideals, their policies. तो जो नॉन कोऑपरेशन मूवमेंट, जो सिविल डिसोबीडियंस मूवमेंट्स हैं, दे आर ऑल्सो रूटेड इन दीज स्वदेशी एंड बॉयकॉट मूवमेंट्स ओनली, right? So initially the Swadeshi movement started because of the partition of Bengal, but with time it spread to different parts of India. It spread throughout India and gained an all India character. So this is about it. Then in 1906 the Muslim League was formed. What happened was that the Muslim League supported this partition of Bengal. It also opposed this Swadeshi movement, plus it demanded separate electorates for the Muslims, as a result of which there was some sort of communal disharmony between Hindus and the Muslims. So when we were discussing about the revolt of 1857, we saw that one of the stark features of the revolt was the Hindu-Muslim unity. However, इस time पे there was clashes between the communities. But in some time we will see how there were attempts which were made to bring together both the communities, and one of the most important thing which Mahatma Gandhi tried to achieve was to bring both of these communities together so that independence could be attained. So that we'll study later. So Muslim League put forth certain demands, for example of the separate electorate. Then in 1909 the Morley-Minto reforms were introduced, and finally the British government decided to provide for separate electorates for the Muslims. So we see that India was politically extremely active during this particular time. However, in 1907, in the Surat session, the Indian National Congress was split into two parts, the extremists and the moderates. So the extremists or the radicals, they wanted to adopt violent methods in order to attain independence, whereas the moderates on the other hand wanted to use persuasive or gradual methods in order to attain independence. So some of these extremists include Bal Gangadhar Tilak, Bipin Chandra Pal, Lala Lajpat Rai and so on, and the moderates on the other hand were led by Gopal Krishna Gokhale. Also, when Mahatma Gandhi also started to getting involved in the nationalist movement, so one of his mentors was Gopal Krishna Gokhale only. So now we know about the background. Now let us start with the chapter. So Mahatma Gandhi, that is Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi, he returned to India from South Africa in January 1915, right? So there's the statement which is quoted in the book, which is South Africa was the making of the Mahatma. अब इसका क्या मतलब हुआ? So when we talk about the ideals or the principles of Mahatma Gandhi, who was the leader of the Indian nationalist movement, we talk about the techniques of satyagraha, we talk about the promotion of harmony between different religions, and also the element of participation in the Indian nationalist movement. So all of these principles which he stood for were a result of his struggle for the Indian community in South Africa. So in South Africa, Mahatma Gandhi became the leader of the Indian community in that territory and also struggled for the rights of the Indians. So it was there that he developed the techniques of non-violence, that is satyagraha. Then he promoted harmony between religions and alerted the upper castes to the discrimination faced by the lower castes. So all of these principles were imbibed by Mahatma Gandhi in the Indian nationalist movement as well. So now let us see how he started with his activities in India from the year 1915-16, right? Before that, one important thing which you need to know is that in 1916, the Lucknow Pact took place, which was a temporary alliance between the Indian National Congress and the Muslim League. So the Indian National Congress accepted this idea of separate electorate. So there was a temporary alliance which was made between both the political groups. So now, as I've already told, Gopal Krishna Gokhale was one of the mentors of Mahatma Gandhi. Right, so on his advice, Gandhiji spent 1 year traveling around British India and getting to know the land and its people. So the first major public appearance of Mahatma Gandhi was at the time of opening of the Banaras Hindu University in the year 1916. So a lot of different people, a lot of great dignitaries like the rulers, the leaders of the Indian National Congress, philanthropists, etc., they were invited in this particular opening ceremony of the Banaras Hindu University. So during this time, Mahatma Gandhi was relatively unknown in India, right? Because abhi to wo India aaye hi the, so he was not that popular of a nationalist leader as of now. So he was invited in this opening ceremony because of his work in South Africa. So Mahatma Gandhi appreciated the opening up of a nationalist university, right? Because first time something like this happened, a nationalist university was opened, which was sustained by Indian money, which was an Indian initiative and was thus commended by him, right? But at the same time, he reminded the people present there, that is the people who were attending this particular ceremony, that there is a vast mass of unrepresented population of India. तो इस particular ceremony में the privileged upper class were the invitees. So he reminded these people that there is a large chunk, a majority section of the Indian society, which includes the laborers, the peasants, the working class and so on, which are not being represented in the nationalist movement. He said that in order for India to be independent, the population of these people is equally important in the nationalist movement. So his speech, his Banaras speech of 1916, was both a statement of fact as well as a statement of intent. अब इसका क्या मतलब हुआ? So statement of fact ऐसे because he stated a fact, a truth, that the Indian nationalism is an elite phenomena. राइट, बिकॉज नेशनलिज्म की बातें कौन कर रहा है? द एलीट सेक्शन ऑफ द सोसाइटी कंप्राइजिंग ऑफ द लॉयर्स, द डॉक्टर्स, द लैंडलॉर्ड्स एंड सो ऑन, एंड द वास्ट मेजॉरिटी ऑफ द पीपल आर अनरिप्रेजेंटेड. There is very little to almost no involvement of these people in the nationalist struggle. Statement of intent essay because this speech showed his intention or his desire to make Indian nationalism more properly representative of the Indian people as a whole. So this speech kind of portrayed his vision of the Indian nationalist movement. Then during the Lucknow session of the Indian National Congress in the year 1916, जो हमने पहले भी briefly mention किया, that the first step towards the Hindu-Muslim unity was taken in this session, wherein a temporary alliance was made between the Muslim League and the Indian National Congress. So during this session, a peasant from Champaran, which is a place in Bihar, told Mahatma Gandhi about the harsh treatment of peasants by the British indigo planters. So in the 10th chapter, we discussed how the Britishers, they were promoting commercialization of agriculture and how they were treating them badly. So this peasant from Champaran told Mahatma Gandhi about the problems which the indigo peasants were facing. As a result of which Mahatma Gandhi supported these peasants and a Champaran movement was launched. Right. Then there were two other satyagrahas which were undertaken by Mahatma Gandhi. First one was in Ahmedabad. तो यहाँ पे the textile mill workers, they were demanding for better working conditions, and then another satyagraha was in Kheda. Both of these places are in Gujarat only, and Kheda में जो protest था, that was for the remission of taxes, because यहाँ पे there was failure of harvest, there were no crops in that season, so the peasants, they wanted to have the taxes cancelled, right? So they fought for the cancellation of taxes. Of all these three movements, that is the Champaran movement, the Ahmedabad and the Kheda Satyagraha, all these were localized struggles. All these were localized struggles. Why? Because they were limited to a particular area only. So it was the Rowlatt Satyagraha that made Mahatma Gandhi a nationalist leader. Of what was this Rowlatt Satyagraha? So the Rowlatt Satyagraha was in opposition to the Rowlatt Act. This act was known as the Anarchical and Revolutionary Crimes Act. So the British government had passed the Defence of India Act of 1915. This act was an emergency criminal law इसमें दे curtailed the nationalist and the revolutionary activities which were taking place during the First World War as well as in the aftermath of First World War. तो फर्स्ट वर्ल्ड वॉर का जो टाइम पीरियड है दैट इज़ फ्रॉम 1914 to 1919. So this act was made and imposed on India to curb the nationalistic or the revolutionary activities. When this Anarchical and Revolutionary Crimes Act was passed, it was passed with the intention of indefinitely extending this particular act. तो अब इस एक्ट में हुआ क्या, that there was censorship of press, then there were measures of preventive indefinite detention, that is people could be detained for an indefinite period, that is कोई time limit fix नहीं है इसकी, and the people could be incarcerated without trial, that is they could be imprisoned without any trial. So because of its harshness, this particular act was also called as the Black Act. So in retaliation to this particular act, that is the Rowlatt Act, there were nationwide campaigns and nationwide protests under the leadership of Mahatma Gandhi. So this particular protest was known as the Rowlatt Satyagraha. तो अब सत्याग्रह क्या होता है वो भी हम यही डिस्कस कर लेते हैं. सो सत्य मीन्स ट्रूथ एंड आग्रह मीन्स polite insistence. So satyagraha is a form of non-violent resistance or civil resistance, right? However, सत्याग्रह का मतलब सिर्फ passive resistance नहीं होता. It is not mere passive resistance, right? Mahatma Gandhi has defined this particular term and said that it is different from passive resistance in the sense that it is a weapon of strong. तो पैसिव रेजिस्टेंस मतलब आप बिना कुछ किए बस अथॉरिटी को रेजिस्ट कर रहे हो, दैट इज़ वेपन ऑफ द वीक. वेयर एज सत्याग्रह में यू ऑल्सो टेक सर्टेन पॉजिटिव स्टेप्स in order to achieve your objective. So it is first of all weapon of the strong. Second of all, it admits of no violence in any circumstance. So when you talk about passive resistance, there are times when it can turn into a violent struggle. But satyagraha ke case mein there is no scope of it turning into a violent protest. And if it turns into a violent protest, it is no longer a satyagraha. Thirdly, how it is different from passive resistance is that it insists upon truth. Right, so this is what satyagraha means. These protests, these campaigns, they were particularly intense in the area of Punjab. वो इसलिए because India, as you all know, participated in the First World War as an ally of the Britishers, right? Because they were our colonial masters, so we had to align with the Britishers in the First World War. The majority of the soldiers which went to fight in the war were from Punjab. So because the Britishers, that is who were the part of the allied forces, since they won the First World War, so it was thought, it was expected by the Indian soldiers that they would be rewarded for their services. Instead, when they came back, they had to face the repercussions of this Rowlatt Act. As a result, there was great amount of what you can say discontentment coupled with anger, so there were countrywide protests. Then the leaders of this particular revolt, they were arrested. Even Mahatma Gandhi was arrested and put behind bars. The culmination of these protests, these campaigns, was the Jallianwala Bagh massacre, which you all would be familiar with, which happened on the 13th of April 1919. So there was a nationalist meeting which was going on, and the British Brigadier General Dyer, he ordered his troops to open fire on the meeting, as a result of which more than 400 people died. So the revolt, the satyagraha, did not really end on a positive note as was expected by the leaders. But what this satyagraha did was that it established Mahatma Gandhi as a national figure, as a nationalist leader. This satyagraha also marks the stepping stone, the first step towards the launching of different movements like the non-cooperation movement, the civil disobedience movement, which we will discuss later in the chapter. So this is all about the Rowlatt Satyagraha. So this is all for this video. In the next video, I'll be starting with the non-cooperation movement. Thank you so much for watching.